Hello there. Close your eyes, relax your body, and imagine yourself drifting back hundreds of millions of years to a time when the Earth was still covered by primeval forests and giant creatures walked through the morning mist. Tonight, we will journey together through 100 truths about dinosaurs, the secrets hidden within every breath of time. Fact 31. Hollow bones, the strength hidden in lightness. Now, imagine yourself walking through an ancient forest. The ground is damp, the air heavy with the scent of earth and resin. In the distance, a deep, resonant sound echoes the footsteps of a colossal creature. Each step makes the ground tremble, yet you would never believe that. Inside that massive body, its bones are hollow. Dinosaurs came in many groups and shapes, but most shared one mysterious feature. Their bones were not solid. When paleontologists sliced open fossil samples, they discovered that instead of solid mass, the interior was filled with a delicate network of tiny cavities, a pneumatic structure. These hollow spaces didn't make the bones weaker. They made them 30–40% lighter than those of animals of similar size. Nature does not create strength by adding more, but by removing what is unnecessary. A brachiosaurus stretched over 25 meters long, weighing up to 60 tons. If its body were built like today's animals, it could never have stood upright, let alone lifted its neck tens of meters high to feed on leaves. That is why nature chose hollow yet strong bones. The empty spaces inside were filled with air sacs and light marrow, balancing weight and structural endurance. Stone on the outside, wind within. The power of dinosaurs was born from the art of being light. Not only the bones, but also the respiratory systems of many dinosaurs, especially the theropoda group, Tyrannosaurus rex, Velociraptor, Allosaurus, contained an intricate network of air sacs, much like modern birds. When they breathed, air didn't only enter the lungs, but flowed through the air sacs in the chest and bones, forming a continuous current that absorbed oxygen twice as efficiently. That's why these enormous creatures could still move fast, hunt, and run tirelessly. A dinosaur's breath was not just for living, it kept the whole body moving like the wind. The air sacs inside connected to the vertebrae and neck. When they inhaled, air flowed through the windpipe into the chest sacs, and then into the hollow bone chambers, reducing the weight of the neck and tail. This allowed species like Diplodocus and Brachiosaurus to maintain perfect balance, lifting their long necks without breaking a bone. Each breath they took was not merely life, but a harmony between heaviness and lightness, between earth and sky. A dinosaur's skeleton was like a modern suspension bridge, hollow inside, but reinforced with crossing struts and dense tissues like steel beams. When a sauropod placed its foot down, its tens of tons of weight were distributed across the entire body, running through each hollow bone and flexible joint. Without that structure, their bones would have shattered within a few steps. Hollow in nature does not mean empty. It means free of what is unnecessary. Today, birds carry within them the same hollow bone system as their dinosaur ancestors. Their wings are light, yet strong enough to endure hours of flight. The bones of eagles, herons, and kites all contain air sacs connected to the lungs, allowing air to circulate continuously. A perfect design for flying. This proves that the secret of flight did not begin in the sky, but within the bones of dinosaurs. Flying is the act of wings, but its origin lies in breath. If we recreated dinosaur bones using 3D technology, their structure would closely resemble the honeycomb materials used in airplanes and spacecraft. Thin layers, hollow yet tightly interconnected. Every curve, every cavity serves a clear physical purpose. Dinosaurs knew nothing of mechanics, yet nature taught them the principle of optimization. Humans study mathematics to understand weight. Dinosaurs only needed to exist to prove it. The hollow chambers in many dinosaur skulls were not just for reducing weight, they also amplified sound. This allowed them to produce roaring calls that could travel over 5 kilometers through the air. It turns out, the voice of a dinosaur did not come solely from its throat, but from the resonance of its entire body. Their bodies were the first musical instruments ever built by the planet. Without hollow bones, dinosaurs could never have grown so massive, could never have lifted their necks, flown, or perhaps even survived through the ages. Their true strength did not lie in muscle or thick skin, but in the elegant architecture of emptiness. When archaeologists lift each fossilized fragment of dinosaur bone, they do not merely see stone, but the mind of nature carved into matter. Those hollow tubes and curved lines stand as proof of evolution's intelligence. From them, humankind learned to build lighter, stronger, more flexible designs, from airplanes and bridges to artificial biological structures. The bones of dinosaurs may have stopped living, but their wisdom still echoes in the technology of today. Fact 32. The breath of dinosaurs, the most perfect respiratory system in animal history. Now imagine this. You don't just have 2 lungs, but dozens of hidden air sacs in your neck, chest, back, and even inside your bones. You don't simply breathe. You let your breath flow through your entire body. That is how dinosaurs breathed. 1. When breath becomes architecture, dinosaurs didn't just have lungs. They possessed an extended respiratory system that spread throughout their entire bodies. Air entered through the nose, down the trachea into the lungs, then to air sacs distributed across the body. Even when exhaling, air kept circulating, ensuring that oxygen flow never stopped. This means dinosaurs never had stale air in their lungs like humans do. Their breath never repeated itself. It was a one-way river of life. 2. When breathing also cooled the body, a sauropod weighing 50 tons would generate immense heat just by moving. If it relied only on 2 dense lungs like mammals, it would overheat and die within minutes. But thanks to their network of air sacs, cool air constantly flowed through internal chambers, releasing heat from within. The breath of dinosaurs didn't just sustain life, it cooled their colossal bodies. Each breath was a breeze, flowing through the body of a living planet. 3. Evidence in the fossils. When scientists blew air through 3D models of dinosaur skeletons, they discovered that the air passages truly existed. In the vertebrae, neck, and ribs, there were pneumatic openings connecting the lungs to the bones. Some species, like Apatosaurus, had up to 10-12 large air sacs, and the entire system functioned almost identically to modern birds. This means dinosaurs had invented the most efficient respiratory design on Earth, 65 million years before humans understood science. 4. When life is more than just breathing, each breath of a dinosaur could contain 3 to 4 times more oxygen than that of mammals. This allowed them to sustain their massive bodies, moving slowly without exhaustion. The air sacs also regulated internal pressure, reducing strain on bones and lungs. Each flow of air carried not only oxygen, but the perfect rhythm between the inner and outer worlds. To inhale was to receive, to exhale was to give. Dinosaurs lived in tune with the breath of the universe. 5. When dinosaurs were more like birds than we think, the respiratory structure of dinosaurs was nearly identical to that of birds today. Air moved in 2 cycles, once on inhalation and once on exhalation, yet oxygen was absorbed during both phases. That's why birds can fly thousands of kilometers non-stop, and dinosaurs could run, hunt, or stretch their necks for hours without tiring. Birds are not just descendants, they are the continuing breath of dinosaurs. 6. When breath became strength, an Allosaurus could run nearly 50 kilometers per hour while maintaining steady respiration. Through the constant flow of air within its body, inside, air and energy merged like blood. When hunting, its heart and lungs worked together like twin instruments, playing the ancient music of life. Speed and breath were one. The deeper the breath, the stronger the life. 7. When intelligence began with breathing. Though the dinosaur brain was small, it was nourished by a rich oxygen supply. This enabled quick reflexes, sharp senses, and a memory longer than we once believed. Some studies show that velociraptors could hunt in coordinated packs, a behavior requiring constant brain activity and steady oxygen flow. Deep breath, deep thought, both are gifts of evolution. 8. When death couldn't stop the flow of air. When dinosaurs died, the air cavities in their bones made their bodies float. Many fossils were found in river or seabed sediments for this reason. The air sacs made their bodies lighter than death itself, allowing them to drift away, leaving traces for the future. Their final breath still lingers within the stone. 9. When humans learned to breathe from dinosaurs. Today, scientists have discovered that the one-way airflow system in birds and dinosaurs is 2-3 times more efficient than human lungs. Biologists are now modeling the dinosaur lung design to develop advanced ventilators and air filtration systems. From these ancient beings, we are learning once again how to breathe properly. Dinosaurs didn't just teach us about life, they taught us about balance between receiving and letting go. 10. The legacy of breath. The breath of dinosaurs has long since merged with Earth's atmosphere. It's possible that in every breath you take, a molecule of oxygen that once passed through the lungs of a brachiosaurus now flows through yours. All living things are connected by breath, beyond borders, beyond time. You may not carry dinosaur blood, but surely you carry their breath within you. Fact 33. Warm-blooded or cold-blooded. The greatest debate about dinosaurs. The sun pours down on damp earth, and the wind drifts through towering fern trees. Amid the shimmering light, a stegosaurus moves slowly, while not far away, an allosaurus lurks in silence. Two creatures, two rhythms of life, one slow, one swift. So then, did their blood share the same warmth? For centuries, scientists believed dinosaurs were giant reptiles, cold-blooded, dependent on the environment to regulate their body heat. That meant, in the chilly morning, they would move sluggishly, and only when the sun rose high would their blood warm enough for their bodies to awaken. Just like today's crocodiles or lizards, they lacked an internal heat source. Thus, the ancient world was imagined as a slow-moving realm where lazy giants dragged their weight through time. In 1969, paleontologist John Ostrom discovered the footprints of Deinonychus, a fast, blade-clawed predator. Those tracks could not belong to a cold-blooded creature. They sprinted, hunted, turned, and accelerated, like modern-day cheetahs. From that moment, a revolution began. Dinosaurs might have been warm-blooded. With just one footprint, millions of years of history were rewritten. Warm-blooded animals, endothermic, can maintain a stable internal temperature, regardless of the heat or cold around them. This demands immense energy. They must eat constantly, breathe deeply, their hearts beating fast. But in return, they can move, hunt, and live actively across all environments. Warm blood is freedom, the power to master one's own rhythm of life. When scientists examined cross-sections of dinosaur fossils, they discovered growth rings within the bones. In reptiles, these rings are distinct. Growth halts during cold seasons. But in dinosaurs, the rings were faint, barely pausing, indicating year-round growth, a hallmark of warm-blooded life. Within fossilized bones, time is measured not only by age, but by the pulse of every cell. Dinosaurs had multi-chambered lungs like birds, and hollow bones that allowed air to circulate continuously. Such a system only makes sense if they needed abundant oxygen, meaning fast heartbeats and rapid metabolism. Scientists have even found fossilized evidence of heart chambers, suggesting that some species had 4-chambered hearts, like mammals and birds, not 3-chambered like reptiles. The heart of a dinosaur beat like an ancient drum, keeping rhythm for a primeval world. In 2011, a research team from UC Berkeley used oxygen isotope analysis on dinosaur fossils to estimate their body temperature. The result: many species maintained internal temperatures of 36–38 degrees Celsius, very similar to modern birds and warm-blooded mammals. After millions of years, the warmth of dinosaurs still lingers within stone. Some giants like Brachiosaurus or Apatosaurus were so massive that even with slow circulation, their bodies retained heat simply through sheer size. This is called inertial homeothermy, or mass-generated warmth. They weren't entirely warm-blooded, yet didn't lose heat as rapidly as smaller creatures. Sometimes, warmth doesn't come from speed, but from endurance. Smaller species like Velociraptor or Troodon had skulls with intricate nasal cavities, warming air as it entered, a feature of warm-blooded life. They had lean bodies, long legs, large lungs, and signs of primitive sweat glands, helping regulate temperature during constant motion. Every breath was a spark, igniting the fire of evolution. Though much evidence points toward warm-bloodedness, some scientists argue that dinosaurs were mesothermic, a middle ground. They could regulate their temperature, but not as precisely as true warm-blooded animals. Thus, dinosaurs might have been both reptile and bird, both patient and fierce. Nature never chooses sides, it chooses balance. Today, when you place your hand upon your chest and feel your heartbeat, you are hearing the oldest rhythm on Earth. For birds, the living descendants of dinosaurs still carry that same circulatory system, still hold the warmth of the Jurassic within. And within human DNA, a fragment of that ancient heat remains. The force that makes us run, create, love, and never stop moving. The dinosaurs are gone, but their hearts still beat within every creature that cherishes life. Fact 34. The colors and skin of dinosaurs. The truth hidden behind the grey fossils. Morning light pierces through a thin layer of mist. Before you stands a small dinosaur, Anchiornis, spreading its wings in the breeze, its feathers shimmering in shades of red, white, and black, like a living, moving painting. It looks at you, then leaps onto a branch, leaving behind glimmering dust in the sunlight. And you realize dinosaurs were never colorless. For decades, dinosaur fossils only showed bones and shapes, no trace of color at all. But in the early 21st century, a group of scientists in China discovered fossils whose feathers and scales still retained traces of pigment cells, melanosomes. Under an electron microscope, those tiny cells appeared like microscopic jewels, carrying messages of color. What the naked eye thought was dead was merely asleep within the stone. Through spectral analysis, researchers reconstructed the original colors of those ancient pigments. Anchiornis, the small feathered dinosaur, was revealed to have silvery gray feathers, a bright red crest, and black and white wings. Microraptor, the four-winged dinosaur, shimmered in iridescent blue and violet, like a raven. This proved that color was not just for camouflage, but also for communication, attraction, and self-expression. After millions of years, their colors had never truly faded. They only waited for human light to awaken them. Unlike the old depictions, dinosaur skin was far from uniform. Some species had hard, crocodile-like scales. Others had smooth skin, soft fuzz, and some even bore thin membranes like those of modern birds. Fossils of Hadrosaurus revealed honeycomb patterns on its skin, with tiny reflective cells that scattered light, creating a natural holographic sheen, like a beetle's shell. Nature did not only create life, it decorated it with light. From the discovery of Archaeopteryx in Germany to hundreds of feathered fossils found in Liaoning, China, scientists confirmed that many dinosaurs, especially theropods, the carnivorous group, had feathers, not for flight, but for warmth, camouflage, or courtship. The earliest feathers were hollow tubes, later evolving into more complex structures, the ancestors of bird wings. Feathers were not a symbol of flight, but of evolutionary intelligence. Some small dinosaurs had neck frills or skin crests that could shift color with light or temperature. Much like today's chameleons, they used color to communicate, warn, or flirt. Male Protoceratops may have displayed red and yellow patterns during mating season. Dilophosaurus, with its twin crests, could have flared its colors to threaten or assert dominance. Color was the Earth's first language, needing no words, only light. Dark colors absorbed heat quickly. Light colors reflected harsh sunlight. Species in colder climates, like Coelindrodromeus, had dense, pale fuzz. Meanwhile, tropical species like Carnotaurus had dark, mottled skin to blend with the jungle. Color was thus a biological cloak, a tool for survival and for radiance. No color was meaningless. Each shade told a story of endurance. Like modern birds, dinosaurs could perceive color and distinguish individuals. A more vibrant, stronger male could attract more mates. A subtler, patterned female might blend into her nest for protection. These color displays were an ancient part of social behavior. Evolution didn't just favor the strong, it favored those who knew how to shine. Another marvel, some dinosaur feathers contained multi-layered structures that reflected light, just like peacock feathers or hummingbirds. Under sunlight, they radiated shimmering rainbow hues. The Microraptor fossil is a perfect example, black with a metallic blue sheen, as if forged from molten metal. In a world without electricity, light still found a way to dance upon wings. Today, scientists are recovering fragments of ancient pigment DNA from fossils. Though rarely intact, even a few surviving sequences reveal how genes once controlled color production. This lets us learn not only what colors they had, but why they had them. Color wasn't a layer of paint. It was a melody written in their genes. Paleoartists have completely reimagined how dinosaurs looked. No longer dull, gray, lumbering beasts, but vivid, agile, dynamic beings. From Velociraptor with its delicate feathers to Tyrannosaurus with dark-backed and light-bellied tones. Each species a masterpiece of light and life. Dinosaurs were not monsters. They were living paintings, the breathing art of Earth itself. Fact 36. The colossal heart, the circulatory system of dinosaurs, and the rhythm that never stopped. A Brachiosaurus could stand over 13 meters tall. Its blood had to be pumped from the heart all the way to the head, a journey higher than a 5-story building. To achieve that, its heart had to be 10 times stronger than that of an elephant. Scientific models estimate that the Brachiosaurus heart could weigh up to 400 kilograms, with blood pressure nearing 800 mmHg, 6 times that of a human. Each heartbeat was a drum resonating through its massive body, keeping that giant life form from collapsing under its own weight. Dinosaurs possessed an incredibly advanced vascular system. A main artery ran along the spine, branching into every limb and muscle. The larger species had anti-reflux valves in their veins, preventing blood from flowing backward when they lifted their heads high. Some fossils even preserved impressions of blood vessels on the bones, revealing a capillary density similar to that of warm-blooded creatures. Within that colossal body, blood flowed like a red river, carrying warmth through the ages. Unlike modern reptiles, many dinosaurs had four-chambered hearts, like birds and mammals. A fossil found in Dakota, USA in 2000 revealed traces of complete valves and partitions, separating oxygen-rich and oxygen-poor blood. This proved that dinosaurs possessed a closed and highly efficient circulatory system, fit for an active and fast-paced lifestyle. Their hearts didn't just beat, they sang the symphony of evolution. A Tyrannosaurus rex, weighing 8 tons, might have had a heartbeat of around 30-40 beats per minute, but each beat pumped dozens of liters of blood. Meanwhile, smaller species, like Velociraptor, had heart rates 5 to 6 times faster, matching their hunting speed and quick reflexes. Whether the heart beat fast or slow didn't matter. What mattered was that it never stopped. Dinosaurs needed efficient blood circulation to maintain body temperature. Blood vessels beneath their skin functioned as cooling systems, helping them regulate heat while moving through harsh climates. Some species had thin skin membranes on their necks or crests that allowed faster heat release, similar to elephant ears or bat wings today. Blood did not only carry life, but also the balance between hot and cold, between motion and rest. Massive creatures, like Apatosaurus, couldn't run fast, so their hearts worked efficiently, yet economically. When resting, they slowed their pulse, conserving energy for hours at a time, like the breathing of a meditating human. Slow, deep, steady, yet never ceasing. Nature understood this. True strength lies not in speed, but in the endurance of a heartbeat. Each drop of blood carried oxygen, but also evolution's message. It told the story of how Earth learned to sustain giant life, from the earliest fish with 2-chambered hearts, to reptiles with 3, to dinosaurs and birds with 4. It was a long road toward perfection. The heart is not merely an organ, but an evolutionary memory written in blood. Paleontologists use CT scans on fossils to study mineralized heart and blood vessel structures. Iron traces in the bones mark where blood once flowed, and its rhythm seems carved into stone like waves frozen in time. Some fossils even contain traces of fossil hemoglobin, meaning within the layers of rock, a fragment of dinosaur blood still remains. Their hearts have long stopped beating, but their echoes still resonate in the fossils. Today, biologists use simulation data to recreate dinosaur heartbeats in 3D models. In laboratories, they listen to the reconstructed rhythm, slow, deep, resonant, like drums echoing in a cave. That sound sends chills through everyone who hears it, for it feels as if Earth is breathing again. Every heartbeat is a reminder that life has never been silent. Today, birds, the direct descendants of dinosaurs, still carry 4-chambered hearts, still beat rapidly and powerfully, still transmit energy through every breath. And humans with much smaller hearts still inherit the same biological principle: to keep blood flowing through every part of the body, nourishing every cell, every dream. Perhaps dinosaurs have vanished, but their heartbeat never truly ceased. It merely grew smaller, residing now in the chest of every creature that loves life. Fact 36. The colossal heart, the circulatory system of dinosaurs, and the rhythm that never stopped. A Brachiosaurus could stand over 13 meters tall. Its blood had to be pumped from the heart all the way to the head, a journey higher than a 5-story building. To achieve that, its heart had to be 10 times stronger than that of an elephant. Scientific models estimate that the Brachiosaurus heart could weigh up to 400 kilograms, with blood pressure nearing 800 mmHg, 6 times that of a human. Each heartbeat was a drum resonating through its massive body, keeping that giant life form from collapsing under its own weight. Dinosaurs possessed an incredibly advanced vascular system. A main artery ran along the spine, branching into every limb and muscle. The larger species had anti-reflux valves in their veins, preventing blood from flowing backward when they lifted their heads high. Some fossils even preserved impressions of blood vessels on the bones, revealing a capillary density similar to that of warm-blooded creatures. Within that colossal body, blood flowed like a red river, carrying warmth through the ages. Unlike modern reptiles, many dinosaurs had four-chambered hearts, like birds and mammals. A fossil found in Dakota, USA in 2000, revealed traces of complete valves and partitions, separating oxygen-rich and oxygen-poor blood. This proved that dinosaurs possessed a closed and highly efficient circulatory system, fit for an active and fast-paced lifestyle. Their hearts didn't just beat, they sang the symphony of evolution. A Tyrannosaurus rex, weighing 8 tons, might have had a heartbeat of around 30-40 beats per minute, but each beat pumped dozens of liters of blood. Meanwhile, smaller species, like Velociraptor, had heart rates 5 to 6 times faster, matching their hunting speed and quick reflexes. Whether the heart beat fast or slow didn't matter. What mattered was that it never stopped. Dinosaurs needed efficient blood circulation to maintain body temperature. Blood vessels beneath their skin functioned as cooling systems, helping them regulate heat while moving through harsh climates. Some species had thin skin membranes on their necks or crests that allowed faster heat release, similar to elephant ears or bat wings today. Blood did not only carry life, but also the balance between hot and cold, between motion and rest. Massive creatures, like Apatosaurus, couldn't run fast, so their hearts worked efficiently, yet economically. When resting, they slowed their pulse, conserving energy for hours at a time, like the breathing of a meditating human. Slow, deep, steady, yet never ceasing. Nature understood this. True strength lies not in speed, but in the endurance of a heartbeat. Each drop of blood carried oxygen, but also evolution's message. It told the story of how Earth learned to sustain giant life, from the earliest fish with 2-chambered hearts, to reptiles with 3, to dinosaurs and birds with 4. It was a long road toward perfection. The heart is not merely an organ, but an evolutionary memory written in blood. Paleontologists use CT scans on fossils to study mineralized heart and blood vessel structures. Iron traces in the bones mark where blood once flowed, and its rhythm seems carved into stone like waves frozen in time. Some fossils even contain traces of fossil hemoglobin, meaning within the layers of rock, a fragment of dinosaur blood still remains. Their hearts have long stopped beating, but their echoes still resonate in the fossils. Today, biologists use simulation data to recreate dinosaur heartbeats in 3D models. In laboratories, they listen to the reconstructed rhythm, slow, deep, resonant, like drums echoing in a cave. That sound sends chills through everyone who hears it, for it feels as if Earth is breathing again. Every heartbeat is a reminder that life has never been silent. Today, birds, the direct descendants of dinosaurs, still carry 4-chambered hearts, still beat rapidly and powerfully, still transmit energy through every breath. And humans with much smaller hearts still inherit the same biological principle: to keep blood flowing through every part of the body, nourishing every cell, every dream. Perhaps dinosaurs have vanished, but their heartbeat never truly ceased. It merely grew smaller, residing now in the chest of every creature that loves life. Fact 37. The digestive system of dinosaurs, ancient grinding machines. Imagine the rustling of leaves in a Jurassic forest. A Brachiosaurus lifts its long neck, opens its mouth, and swallows massive clusters of leaves. It does not chew, only swallows, then stands still for hours as an entire forest digests within it. The earth enters its body, then returns as energy, as life, in an endless cycle of transformation. Dinosaurs did not simply eat, they digested the planet. Each day, An Apatosaurus could consume over 400 kilograms of vegetation, and its stomach worked tirelessly to grind, ferment, and break down cellulose. Lacking molars for chewing, they swallowed small stones, gastroliths, using them as natural grinders to crush leaves and tender branches. Their bodies were factories of the forest, where leaves became energy and energy became life. Fossils of Brachiosaurus show an abdominal cavity, over 5,000 liters in volume, large enough to hold a small pond. Inside was a vast ecosystem of microorganisms, similar to those in modern-day cows, breaking down food through fermentation. The heat produced by this process was enough to keep the body warm, while gases created a slow but steady digestive rhythm. Inside a dinosaur's belly, there wasn't just food. There was an entire world of microbes living alongside life itself. A single meal for a herbivorous dinosaur could take days to fully digest. Food traveled through multiple chambers, each with a specialized role, much like a cow's multi-chambered stomach, but on a colossal scale. Each round of fermentation, each rhythmic contraction, was a slow symphony of ancient biology. Every breath, every swallow was a prayer for life to continue. While the plant eaters spent their days chewing leaves, Tyrannosaurus rex and Allosaurus could survive for days or even a week on a single large meal. The jaws of T-Rex were powerful enough to crush bone, and its stomach contained acids stronger than those of modern raptors. Bone fragments found in fossils show that they could digest calcium and marrow, extracting every ounce of energy available. Predators wasted nothing. They consumed both life and death, turning all of it into the strength of the earth. During digestion, biochemical reactions produced methane and steam. That heat escaped into the air, contributing to the planet's warmth. In prehistoric times, dinosaurs, unknowingly, were part of Earth's global climate system. Each dinosaur was a biological engine, eating, breathing, and warming the world. Smaller species like Compsognathus or Oviraptor could not store food for long, so they ate little but often. Their digestive systems were fast and efficient, maintaining energy for constant hunting. Their small, sharp, curved teeth were perfectly designed to tear meat, not chew, allowing food to slide swiftly into the stomach. Sometimes, survival required not sheer power, but rhythm, the steady balance between eating and moving. In many fossils, scientists have discovered chemical traces of gastric acids and animal fat. This proves that dinosaur stomachs operated at high temperatures, around 45 degrees Celsius, enough to dissolve bone, skin, and feathers. Analyses also show that some species possess digestive enzymes similar to those of modern raptors, meaning evolution had preserved that biological formula for over 100 million years. The heat within their bellies was the eternal flame of life itself. Wherever there was life, there was the returning circle of the earth. Fossilized dinosaur dung, called coprolite, is filled with fragments of plants, crushed bones, and pollen. From it, paleontologists can tell what they ate, where they lived, and in what season. Even dinosaur droppings fertilized the ancient forests, helping plants grow anew. A perfect cycle of nature. Everything consumed eventually returned to the soil, and the soil, once more, nourished life. Inside a dinosaur's body, time was not measured by the sun, but by the rhythm of digestion. Each species had its own tempo. Carnivores digested in hours, herbivores in days. Every meal was a small moment within the greater cycle of the planet. Time did not pass. It transformed from leaf to energy, from energy to life. Look deep enough and you'll see. Dinosaurs did not merely eat the earth, they helped the earth eat itself. They felled forests, renewed the soil, returned nutrients through their waste, and balanced the global food chain. Each time they swallowed, A fragment of the planet passed through their bodies, then returned in another form. Earth learned how to regenerate through the stomachs of its giants. Fact 38. The brain of dinosaurs. Thought, emotion, and ancient instinct. Within those layers of stone lies what once ruled the world. A brain, small yet powerful, that once ignited every movement, every wing beat, every earth-shaking roar. It has been silent for tens of millions of years, yet within the fossil, the warmth of thought still seems to echo. Unlike humans, dinosaurs did not need abstract intelligence. They did not do mathematics, nor compose music, but they knew how to survive. And in the ancient world, survival was the highest form of wisdom. A brain need not be large, only attuned to earth, to wind, to sound, and to the rhythm of predators. Intelligence, sometimes, does not lie in thinking, but in harmony with the world. The brain of most dinosaurs accounted for only 0.01% of their body mass. A stegosaurus weighed 5 tons, yet its brain was no larger than a walnut. A brachiosaurus was even bigger, but its brain only the size of a lemon. But do not judge too quickly. Their brains were organized into specialized regions of extraordinary efficiency, each devoted to a vital task of survival. Sharp vision, fast reflexes, precise spatial coordination. The enormity of their bodies never dulled the accuracy of their minds. The visual lobes of dinosaurs were remarkably developed, especially among predators like Tyrannosaurus rex, Allosaurus, and Velociraptor. Their forward-facing eyes created stereoscopic vision, allowing them to gauge distances with deadly precision. Some studies suggest that a velociraptor could see 3 times more clearly than a modern eagle. Every glance was a calculation of space, every look a decision between life and death. The olfactory lobes of T-Rex were larger than those of any known reptile. It could smell blood or carrion from over 10 kilometers away. Even herbivores like Triceratops possessed powerful senses of smell, allowing them to detect territory, mates, or the scent of approaching rain. In the unpredictable weather of the Cretaceous, to sense the wind was to foresee the future. For them, scent was not just information, it was the intuition of life itself. Dinosaurs had long spinal cords and a secondary neural center in the hips, often called a second brain. It was not a separate intelligence, but a reflex hub for the rear body, controlling the tail, legs, and balance in an instant. Thus, a stegosaurus could swing its tail in defense before the main brain even issued the command. Nature reminds us, reflexes can sometimes be wiser than thought. Dinosaurs also possessed a structure akin to the amygdala, the center of fear, anger, and attachment. This means they could feel fear, rage, protection, and perhaps affection. Fossils have revealed mother dinosaurs perishing while guarding their nests from storms or predators. Some herds of ceratopsians died together, evidence of profound social bonds. Intelligence is not only the power to think, but the capacity to feel. Many species had large spatial memory regions in their brains, allowing them to remember migration routes, water sources, and nesting grounds. Scientists believe that some, like sauropods, may have returned to the same swamps each year, just as migratory birds do today. Memory sometimes does not dwell in the mind, but flows in the blood, passed down through instinct. Dinosaurs could not paint, but they knew how to perform. Species like Styracosaurus and Parasaurolophus used color, sound, and motion as their art. Those displays, arching necks, clashing horns, flaring crests, were the first aesthetic language of life. Before there were songs, the world already danced with bone and wind. Today, birds, the direct descendants of dinosaurs, still retain the same neural architecture. Light, hollow, yet exquisitely sharp. Birds navigate by stars, remember routes over thousands of kilometers, and communicate through intricate melodies. All of it began with the dinosaur brain. When a bird sings, it is the echo of the Jurassic still resounding. Dinosaurs never knew they were magnificent. They simply lived, breathed, ate, defended, and loved in their fleeting moments. But now, millions of years later, they have made human minds reflect on evolution, on emotion, and on the meaning of existence. Perhaps true intelligence is not knowing much, but listening deeply to the rhythm of life itself. Fact 39. The senses of dinosaurs. How did they hear, see, smell, and feel the world? When we look at the massive fossils resting silently in stone, we often see only bones, but behind them lies an entire universe of sensation. Every skull cavity, every nasal passage, every eye socket, every tendon ridge on bone, all are evidence of sensory systems that once pulsed with life millions of years ago. Today, we shall reopen those senses to perceive the ancient world as dinosaurs once did. Amid the giant fern forests of the Jurassic, the world was never silent. Wind threaded through the trunks of ancient trees, forming a deep, resonant hum. Far away, faint vibrations rolled through the ground, the footsteps of a 30-ton diplodocus. In that world, sound traveled not only through air but through earth, and dinosaurs knew how to hear both. Studies of the Tyrannosaurus rex skull show it had an exceptionally developed inner ear, with an elongated cochlea similar to that of modern birds and crocodiles. This allowed it to detect low-frequency sounds, even infrasound vibrations, the kind humans cannot hear, but elephants and whales can. Massive herbivores such as sauropods, Brachiosaurus, Diplodocus, may have communicated through low-frequency bellows that traveled for tens of kilometers. At dawn in the Jurassic forest, a single rumble could make the ground tremble, not merely sound, but a signal of territory, location, and mating call. For predators like Allosaurus, acute hearing was a weapon of precision. In the misty air, a single rustle of dry leaves could betray direction and distance, and then it would strike. Sound was the earliest sense of the world, and for dinosaurs, it defined their very existence. If you stood before a troodon, you'd see eyes almost as large as its brain. Troodon, a small dinosaur from the late Cretaceous, is believed to have had the most advanced vision among land-dwelling dinosaurs. Its eyes faced forward, giving it binocular vision, the ability to judge distance precisely, a vital skill for hunting in dense forests. At the opposite extreme, Triceratops and Iguanodon had eyes placed on the sides of their heads, extending their field of view to nearly 300 degrees. Even while grazing, they could track movement around them, a natural radar against ambush. Paleontologists have also found evidence that some dinosaurs possessed color vision far beyond our own. Based on their close relatives, modern birds, it's likely many species could see ultraviolet UV light. That means the vivid crests of Parasaurolophus or Corythosaurus were not merely decorative. They might have glowed or reflected UV rays in sunlight, forming secret signals visible only to their kind. The eyes of dinosaurs were not just for sight, but for reading the language of light across an entire planet. One of the traits that made T-Rex the king of predators wasn't just its teeth, it was its nose. Within its fossilized skull, the olfactory bulbs, the centers of smell, were unusually large, making up nearly 2% of total brain volume. That ratio matches modern hawks and bloodhounds, suggesting it could detect the scent of blood or carrion from tens of kilometers away. 3D reconstructions of dinosaur skulls reveal complex nasal cavities where air swirled through multiple channels, increasing the surface area for scent receptors. Thus, even a faint breeze could carry information about direction, humidity, and the living state of prey. Not only predators but herbivores had refined senses of smell, distinguishing safe from poisonous plants or detecting mating pheromones in the air. When mating season came, the chemical signals floating through the wind, invisible to humans, were the scent of spring in the dinosaur world. Here lies one of the most fascinating discoveries of sensory paleontology. Some dinosaurs could hear with their feet. The enormous leg bones of sauropods were connected to an intricate web of sensitive nerves capable of detecting low-frequency vibrations. When another dinosaur moved kilometers away, the tremors traveled through the ground and the distant creature knew a companion was approaching, even without seeing or hearing it. This is the same mechanism used by modern African elephants, who communicate through seismic waves in the earth. Researchers call it the language of the ground, a kind of sound only massive bodies can truly understand. In the water, Spinosaurus, a semi-aquatic predator, could sense the faintest ripples of movement through pressure sensors along its snout. When a fish swam nearby, Spinosaurus heard the water tremble and struck like a shadow. For dinosaurs, sensation did not reside only in the head, it flowed throughout the body, forming a living biological radar. Dinosaur skin was not a simple layer of scales. Fossil impressions from China, Mongolia, and Canada reveal many species had fine filaments or proto-feathers, primitive down, that not only provided warmth, but also sensitivity to touch, wind, and pressure. Sensory nerve endings across the skin, especially around the snout and neck, allowed them to detect changes in temperature or humidity. This helped them anticipate weather shifts or feel the direction of the wind, vital for hunting or fleeing. Some herbivores had thin membranes along their necks to release heat under the sun. Large scales may have acted as thermal sensors, changing color or reflectivity with temperature. For dinosaurs, skin was not just armor, it was their surface of contact with the cosmos. The ancient world was far more vibrant than we imagine. Dinosaurs lived under skies richer in ultraviolet light, for Earth's ozone layer was incomplete. Many evolved to see and respond to a broader range of wavelengths, from crimson red to invisible UV. Their eyes possessed nictitating membranes, transparent shields like those of birds, protecting them from dust and glare while keeping vision sharp. This was especially useful for hunters in deserts or coastal regions. Some studies even suggest that smaller dinosaurs could sense infrared radiation, like pit vipers, meaning they could see the body heat of living creatures. Imagine a small raptor crouched in the darkness of the Cretaceous night before its eyes. The prey glowed faintly like a living flame. The senses of dinosaurs did not operate in isolation. They worked as one vast, unified network. Scent in the wind, sound in the earth, light in the mist, all merged into a three-dimensional sensory world that modern humans can only dream of. Brain simulations of T-Rex reveal exceptionally developed connections between smell, hearing, and sight. That means T-Rex didn't just hear footsteps, it saw movement through echoes, smelled breath on the wind, and combined it all in a single instant. This is why dinosaurs ruled the Earth for over 160 million years. They weren't just powerful, they perceived the world with their entire being. Though dinosaurs are gone, their senses live on in modern birds and reptiles, their direct descendants. Each time a pigeon follows magnetic fields, an owl hears a mouse beneath snow, or a crocodile detects ripples in water with a single tooth that is the echo of ancient sensory mastery, still alive. And perhaps, within us, a fragment of that primal memory endures when we shiver at distant thunder or stand silent before a shaft of sunlight piercing the clouds. It is our ancient brain touching the instincts that once ruled the planet. Dinosaurs were not merely symbols of strength, they were symbols of perception. They heard through the earth, saw through light, smelled through the wind, and touched the world with every cell of their being. Each species was an exquisite symphony of senses, evolved for its unique environment. And if we listen closely enough, somewhere in the night wind, we may still hear the deep rumble of the Jurassic, the heartbeat of senses that once saw, heard, and felt the world in ways no creature ever will again. Fact 40. The dinosaur brain. How did they think, feel, and learn? If we could travel back in time, open a dinosaur's skull, and look inside, we would see a miniature world where every instinct, memory, and primal emotion had been programmed over millions of years of evolution. That brain was not like ours, yet it was far from simple. It was a living machine, a fusion of instinct, awareness, and astonishing adaptability. Science calls this field paleoneurology, the study of fossilized brains. Since brains cannot fossilize, paleontologists use endocasts, brain molds, formed from the empty space inside the skull. Thanks to 3D CT scanning, they can reconstruct the shape, size, and structure of dinosaur brains. When the skull of Tyrannosaurus rex was scanned, scientists discovered a brain about 30 centimeters long, L-shaped, with unusually large olfactory bulbs indicating an extraordinary sense of smell. By contrast, Stegosaurus had a brain barely the size of a walnut, weighing only about 70 grams for a 9-meter-long body, making it the symbol of tiny brain, massive body. Yet that is only the surface. A small brain does not mean stupid. For many, vital motor and survival instincts were controlled by the enlarged spinal cord in the hip region, where automatic reflexes were stored. Like modern reptiles and birds, the dinosaur brain could be divided into 3 main functional regions: brainstem, controlled heart rate, breathing, and reflexes; cerebellum, managed movement, balance, and coordination of limbs and tail; cerebrum, the center of thought, memory, and sensory processing. In predatory species like Troodon, one of the most intelligent dinosaurs, the cerebrum was proportionally much larger. Models show that its EQ, encephalization quotient, a measure of relative intelligence, was 6 times higher than the dinosaur average, comparable to modern crows or ostriches. That means Troodon could plan, remember prey locations, and learn through observation. It didn't act purely on instinct, but through the primitive calculations of an evolving mind. Though we cannot ask a triceratops how it felt, the limbic system within its brain suggests that dinosaurs had basic emotional responses. The limbic system governs fear, aggression, parental care, and emotional memory, just like in reptiles and birds. When a Maiasaura mother bent down to guard her nest, protecting her young from predators, it was not merely survival reflex, but an expression of attachment. The species name Maiasaura even means good mother lizard, because fossils show evidence that it cared for its offspring in the nest. On the other hand, predators like Allosaurus or T. rex had highly developed amygdalae, linked to aggression and territorial behavior. Their deadly bites and fierce battles were not only instinctive, but also expressions of primal emotion and dominance. Evidence also shows that dinosaurs had surprisingly good memories. Fossilized tracks of Hadrosaurus herds migrating seasonally suggest they remembered routes stretching hundreds of kilometers, similar to modern migratory birds. Their brains had relatively large hippocampal regions, helping them remember locations, recognize individuals, and even distinguish sounds. When a young velociraptor watched an adult hunt, it learned how to move, ambush, and sense the perfect moment to strike. That was learning by imitation, the foundational mechanism of animal intelligence. A dinosaur's brain had to command a colossal body, and to do so, its sensory and balance systems had to be incredibly precise. Inside the skull, the semicircular canal's organs that detect movement helped species like pterosaur or Deinonychus maintain balance during head turns or aerial maneuvers. 3D simulations show that pterosaurs had an enlarged anterior canal, stabilizing their posture in flight, much like modern seabirds. In sauropods, the enormous cerebellum coordinated 4 legs and a tail stretching tens of meters, functioning almost like a biological servo controller. A massive tail swinging gently without tipping over, that was the product of millions of years of neuromotor evolution. One of the most fascinating discoveries of the 21st century is that the modern bird brain is the direct legacy of the dinosaur brain. When comparing the skull of Archaeopteryx, the first known winged dinosaur, with that of a modern sparrow, the structures are almost identical. A large visual region, dominant balance and motion control centers, and a complex avian pallium capable of processing social behavior, communication, and vocal learning. This means dinosaurs laid the foundation for bird intelligence and indirectly for the evolutionary rise of cognition itself. Every bird song at dawn is an echo of the ancient dinosaur mind that once contemplated the world. From the Triassic to the late Cretaceous, dinosaur brains tripled in size and complexity. This transformation was no accident. Shifting climates, diverse ecosystems, and fierce competition forced them to adapt through intellect. The longest surviving species were not the strongest, but those that understood their environment. They sensed light, sound, scent, and vibration, and their brains turned that data into decisions. That was the dawn of biological awareness, the spark that would later grow into the intelligence of birds, dolphins, and humans. Imagine this: a warm morning in the Cretaceous period. Across a misty field, a small troodon pauses, head tilted, eyes wide, watching movement in the distance. Its brain calculates wind direction, analyzes sounds, measures distance, and prepares for the perfect leap. In that instant, it is not merely an animal. It is a being, thinking, understanding, and responding to the world through its own mind. Dinosaurs were not soulless instinct machines. Their brains, though vastly different from ours, were among the most efficient and adaptable biological systems ever to exist. From the first neural signals to the complex songs of modern birds, there runs an unbroken stream of intelligence, emotion, and evolutionary instinct. Whenever you see a bird tilt its head to listen to the wind, remember in that very moment, the mind of the dinosaurs still lives on.